It's 11 p.m., your body is heavy and tired. But your brain is still running through your old problems, replaying conversations, and chasing thoughts you didn't ask for. You're exhausted but somehow wired. Here's something most people don't know. At night, your brain isn't trying to keep you awake. It's trying to finish unfinished things. And as long as your brain feels something is unfinished, cortisol stays on. Sleep stays out of reach. I'll show you a simple way that finally tells your brain it's safe to power down. Watch this video till the end, because the final move that I'm going to present you is the most important. Your brain is a prediction machine. It hates open loops. Anything left unresolved feels like a small alarm to your nervous system. A conversation that didn't end well. A decision you keep postponing. A task you forgot to write down. Each one is tagged as unfinished, and unfinished things feel slightly threatening. That's why you feel tired but mentally loud. The body is ready. The mind isn't done yet. It's important to understand what's happening underneath. At night, the amygdala, your brain's threat detection system, stays sensitive to anything uncertain or unfinished. When it detects an open loop, it keeps sending an alert signal. In response, the prefrontal cortex, the planning and problem-solving part of your brain, starts working to resolve it. It starts running scenarios, replaying conversations, and organizing tomorrow. To power that mental work, your body releases cortisol. Cortisol keeps you slightly more alert. Your heart rate stays a bit higher. Your senses stay more switched on, and your brain stays active. Your brain often treats an unfinished thought like a real problem that still needs attention. That's why telling yourself to just relax doesn't work. The system calms down only when your brain gets evidence that the day is over and nothing needs to be solved right now. So now you know the science, here's what you need to do. Open a notebook. Open a real notebook with a pen. Because writing by hand is proven by neuroscience to be more effective for this goal. The goal is simple. Empty the open tabs and unresolved thoughts you have in your head onto the page so your brain stops carrying them. Start with 3 short questions. Answer each one in 1 or 2 sentences. That's it. The first question is, what's still unresolved from today? Write down anything that's bothering you, even if it sounds small. The act of naming it tells your brain you've seen it. The second question is, what's the smallest next step I can take tomorrow? Don't plan the whole solution. Just write the first move. Your brain only needs to know that the path forward exists. The third question is, what are the top 3 things tomorrow needs from me? Write them in order. This becomes your tomorrow map. When the brain knows tomorrow is already structured, it stops planning in the dark at night. And here's why this works. Once something is written down, your brain releases it. Studies on intrusive thoughts show that simply naming a worry on paper reduces its emotional grip almost immediately. The loop closes and the cortisol curve begins to drop. This one habit, done in 5 minutes, can change the entire shape of your night. You're not journaling for reflection. You're journaling to tell your nervous system the day is officially complete. You've closed the mental loops. But there's a second signal your brain is still reading, and it has nothing to do with thoughts. Let me explain. Your brain is a prediction machine. It constantly is predicting the next moment. When you have bright lights, sharp sounds, fast cuts on a screen, sudden notifications, all of these things signal unpredictability to the brain. And it keeps the brain's threat scanner online. So the second move is to make the next hour boring on purpose. Start with light. Dim every light in the room or switch to warm, low lamps. Your brain reads dim, warm light as the end of the day, which slowly lowers cortisol and lets melatonin rise. Avoid overhead lights and cool white screens. They tell the brain it's still afternoon. Next, slow your inputs. Put the phone face down in another room if you can. Stop scrolling, because scrolling is the most unpredictable input your brain receives. Every swipe is a tiny surprise, and every surprise is a small spike of alertness. Then replace it with something gentle. Read fiction, poetry, or a slow memoir. Read something that doesn't ask you to think hard or solve anything. Avoid news, business books, or anything that triggers analysis. Logical reading keeps the prefrontal cortex active. Slow reading lets it rest. When the room dims, the inputs are slow, your brain finally stops bracing for the next thing. It starts trusting that nothing more is coming. And that trust biologically is what allows cortisol to fall. So now you've cleared the page and softened the room. But there's still one place the storm can hide. Inside your head. Even after journaling, even with dim lights, thoughts will still drift in. You may get thoughts about old conversations, random worries, or you may start planning for the next week. This is normal. Your brain is just clearing background tabs. The mistake most people make is to engage with these thoughts. They argue, analyze, or try to push them away. And every reaction wakes the brain back up. Instead of engaging, you label. You become an impartial spectator inside your own mind. When a thought floats in, name it in one quiet word. If you start replaying a conversation in your head, just say to yourself, it's a replay. If a worry shows up, say, it's a worry. If a plan starts forming, say, planning. If a memory drifts in, say, memory. That's it. No reaction. No story. Just label it, give it a name. Watch yourself as an impartial spectator. Here's why this works. Studies show that the moment you label a thought, the activity shifts away from the emotional centers to the observing parts of the prefrontal cortex. The threat signal weakens, the body softens, and the mind realizes it doesn't need to fight what it can simply name. You're not silencing your mind. You're stepping one step back from it. You're watching the weather without becoming the storm. And the calmer you watch, the faster the storm passes. This is the move that finally turns the inner switch off. Not because it suppresses anything, but because it shows the brain that there is no danger left to solve. Here's what you just learned. Your brain can't sleep when something feels unfinished. So you close the open loops on paper. You lower the sensory volume in the room. And you stop wrestling with your thoughts by quietly naming them instead. Each one tells a different part of your nervous system the same simple message. The day is done. Nothing more is coming. You are safe to rest. Try it once tonight. Try it once and you'll feel the shift. Because sleep doesn't begin when the lights go off. It begins when the mind feels safe to rest.